So last week we talked about hospitality. Does anybody remember? What is hospitality?
It was a mix of a lot.
It was service. Where does hospitality start?
With ourselves.
Yes, right here. So Craig, I videotaped it and you can see it. Do you have the app?
I actually did get
Okay,
the
good.
notification for that.
So you can see, yeah, you can see on the app. All right. So that being said, do you remember the equation that people, what they trade? Equals a value, right? Perfect. So as a team member, what do you trade for your value? What is your value as an employee? What would be the value that you're trading that you would want?
Respect.
So you're trading your time, right? You're here, plus your energy for money, right? That's what you're trading. As a leader, you are taking your time plus responsibility to create an impact. So everyone in this room is a leader. The reason that I want you to understand this is because there is a certain amount of responsibility so that we can impact Main Event to make it somewhere that everybody wants to work to keep this place swimming in the same direction. Imagine a big giant boat, Russian Viking something boat, where everybody is rowing in the same direction and there's somebody beating a drum to make sure that we're all rowing in the same direction. You're the drum beaters. You're the ones that are helping me to communicate all of the things so that we're all on the same page. Does that make sense so far? So that being said, just going to get rid of that too. So there are two, bear with me. I just knew it. I absolutely knew it.
Bring the brakes.
Why would you say that?
Let's see here. Yeah. So we have an opportunity. As leaders, you can be a thermostat or you can be a thermometer. What does a thermometer do?
Checks the temperature. Temps things.
It temps things. Mm-hmm. So the thermometer senses the temp. So it's affected by the outside world around it. It is not able to tell the world what temperature to be. It is affected by it, right? Whereas the thermostat sets the temperature. It says, we are going to be, the temperature here is going to be. So when you walk in the door of Main Event, when you come to work, last week I said that I say to myself, it's going to be a good day. And I don't know why, but I can't even say that statement without smiling. There's something about it that it changes something in my brain and allows me to actually feel the emotions that I am saying. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. There's something about it that creates chemicals and hormones and all kinds of things that actually creates a good day just by me saying those words. And so when I walk in the door, some of you haven't worked with me long enough, but if it's not a good day in the morning, can you sense the temperature change from me when I walk in? For sure. So as a leader, I have to be really careful. I don't need comments from the peanut gallery. Anyway, so you can sense the temperature coming from somebody when they walk in the door. So it's really important that we are we're creating an impact, right? So what we're doing is we're trading our time plus our responsibility to create an impact. So when we walk in the door, we have to set the temperature, not be affected by other people's temperature. So I don't come in and I measure Allison's temperature and then decide how I'm going to behave based on how Allison is feeling that day. I don't come in and look at Sam and decide that I'm going to have a bad day because Sam's having a bad day. I set the temperature. I decide. I say, I'm coming in and I'm going to have a good day today, right? So it's up to me to make that decision. Another thing is that whenever you decide, let's say you're somebody that doesn't, like I told the stories about, in my own mind, I have a lot of thoughts that go through, and sometimes it's really hard to combat my thoughts. Yesterday was a rough day for me. I woke up, I wasn't having a very good day. I was sort of having some negative thoughts going through my mind, and I'm struggling and trying to work through it. And after a little bit of discussion with Bill, then I realized that I probably need to just readjust. And one of the things that I did to readjust,
I told her to calm down.
relax, yeah, no. He knows better. We've been married long enough, he knows better. But after I had a little bit of my pity party, then I was like, okay, I need to count my blessings. I need to start being grateful for what I do have, not for what I don't have. And whenever you do that, you say in your brain, I'm going to count my blessings. There is something about having gratitude in the brain. Negativity cannot exist at the same time. It like pushes it out. So like whenever middle of the winter time, your kid comes in the house, leaves the front door open, what happens? Cold starts rolling in the house, right? And the cold like takes over all the heat, right? But what's happening when you make the decision that you're going to be grateful is you push the cold out instead of the cold coming in. You say, I'm not going to have a bad day. I'm going to have a good day. And you redirect your brain. And it actually really, really helps. It's not a perfect magic pill like, oh, now everything's very, and butterflies. But it helps to reset and redirect yourself, because when you come in here, you're setting a temperature in the room. And you have to be the one that sets the temperature, because employees come in and they're sensing that temperature. They feel that cold air rolling in, like before you even walk in the door, if you come in a grumpy mood. I'm trying to think of who we've had here that I want to talk about. I can't think of anybody. But when somebody comes in with a grumpy, just me, I'll use myself as an example. If I come in and I get my brain into the space of I'm being a technician, so I'm now doing tasks, not managing people. And if I'm the first person that comes in and I've been working for 2 hours, I get like, I have this dog, I have a German Shepherd, and anybody have a cat or a dog that likes lasers? Cat, yeah. So my German Shepherd likes lasers like she is a cat. And if I tied a laser on her neck and left it, she would die. She would chase it until she absolutely died. Her brain just becomes laser focus on the laser, and she literally starts hyperventilating, and we think she's going to have a heart attack. We have to hide it from her. One time Bill threw it out in the snow and said, we're getting rid of it because this dog is going to die because of and then she, like she's an addict, she'll just sit by the door where she knows where it's at every day, waiting for us to get the laser. And that's how I am when I get into technician mode. For me, that's what happens to my brain. So I'm here cooking, I've been cooking, getting things ready to go. People start walking in the door and they're like, oh, where's the warm and fuzzy Kimberly? Because when I walk in the door, I'm usually like, hey, how's it going? How was your day? How was your weekend? How's your kids? All those things. That's me in the manager mode. But when I'm in technician mode, I tend to be a little bit more laser focused. And so people walk in the door and they're like, what's wrong with Kimberly? And then that's when Allison will come over and say, hey, you doing all right today? And then I have to remind myself, oh yeah, I'm setting the temperature. I'm making sure that the house is warm so that when all of the guests arrive, it's nice and comfortable. Another thing, Ed Milet, have you guys ever heard of him? He uses the thermostat as, so years ago, I decided that I was going to change the way that I think. And I wanted to be able to accept criticism. I wasn't very good at it. I was actually really terrible at it. You couldn't even tell me anything. If I said to Bill, how does this look on me? He'd go, it kind of makes you look a little chubby. I'd go and pout. Because I'd be like, I just can't even, or if I'd say, what do you think of dinner? And he'd go, well, it's a little salty. And I just couldn't even. I couldn't even accept anything, and I knew this was incorrect, the way that I was thinking. But every time I got a criticism, in my head, I felt like you were telling me I wasn't good enough. And I needed to change that narrative. And I read this book called Start, and he said, you need to understand the difference between constructive criticism and criticism that aims to help you. Because criticism that aims to help you is trying to help you. And that's what you should listen to. Criticism that's aiming to hurt you, forget about those people, don't pay any attention to them. And constructive criticism aims to help you, criticism aims to hurt you. Did I say it backwards? I'm sorry. Okay, so constructive criticism is trying to help you. So when Allison comes in the kitchen and she'll taste the pasta and she'll go, something's off. She's not attacking, she's trying to help us be better, right? Or when I walk on the line and I go, ooh, those are burnt, you can't serve those. Or those fries are overdone, or these are cold. These are all, we want to serve really good food. We're trying to make us the best that we can possibly be. Dayton, there's somebody up front. So it's really important to remember that those are things that are trying to help. So what I did was I wrote it on my mirror in my bathroom. I wrote, constructive criticism aims to help, criticism aims to hurt, know the difference. So that I could just constantly remind myself and tell myself that this is not the right way that you're thinking. Change the way you think, change the way you think, change the way you think. And what Ed Milet says is when you start to decide, I'm gonna change myself, you know what, I don't wanna be 75 anymore, I wanna be 85 degrees. I want to stay at 85 degrees. And what happens is your internal body doesn't like it, and it will automatically try to reprogram you back to 75 degrees. It's like having one of those digital programmed thermostats that turns on and turns off when it wants to kind of thing. Your body, so it's really, sometimes it's just difficult. And the way that we combat that is like what I did on my mirror, is I was constantly remind myself. So when I tell you guys that responsibility plus your time equals your influence here, I'm saying it's going to be hard. It's not always going to be easy. As a manager, not everybody's going to be like, oh, thank you for giving me that constructive criticism. You're so helpful. Or not everybody's going to be like, gee, I really appreciate you telling me what to do or giving me feedback or a compliment. They're not always going to be like, gee, thanks for those compliments. But remember, it's always about the influence, the impact. Actually, not influence, it's impact. The impact that we're putting on our staff. That's the most important thing. So let's talk about a couple of things. So number one, you set the temperature. Right? We talked about that. Number two, you need to read the temperature. We all have a thermostat. We all have a thermostat and the thermometer. So you have to be able to read the temperature. You walk in the door and Stephanie's cranky that day. And you need to know how can I, or Sam. Sam looks like he's stressed out. Why is Sam stressed out? You need to be able to read and be helpful. And so remember, constructive criticism, all these things, we're all having these conversations in our own minds. So I walk in the door and Sam is kind of like grumbling to himself on the line, and I can tell something's going on. Do I go, what's your problem? Or do I say, how can I be helpful? Which one is more going to have a better impact? Yeah, how can I be helpful? So I'm not going to take it personally. I'm not going to allow your thermostat, your cold air, your whatever's going on your day, I'm not going to allow that to infect or affect the way that I am going to regulate my own thermostat. Does that make sense? Is this, everybody following along so far?
I also feel like putting it that way makes it seem like you're waiting for their input. You know what I mean? Like you value their input as well, which I think people really appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I'm stressed out, and I watch it in other people. And the only reason I say this is because Bill and I did this, we started this out ourselves. So I would do the shopping, I would do the cooking, I would do the serving, and then I would come back and clean. And it was like these massively long days. Christian and Dayton did it with us because they, were our children. And massively long, crazy days, stressful, and just feeling like it's this insurmountable amount of stuff that has to get done, and I feel overwhelmed. And I see it in everyone else here. You get 15 tickets on the ticket bar, and you can just see the stars in people's eyes. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Ashley's got piles of stuff, and there's 2 phones, and they're both on hold, and there's a line out the door, and she's by herself, and she needs help. I see it. And for me, it's like, we're just gonna bite off what we can do, and we're just gonna keep doing that until we get through it. One year we did the Blueberry Festival. I think I talked about this last week, did I? The Blueberry Festival out in Girdwood in our food truck. First time we'd ever been to anything like that. We'd never been that busy before. We're taking orders. Jimmy was there with us, and I'm cooking. I don't remember where everybody was at. I just remember being on the grill. And at one point we had so many tickets that like we were losing tickets. And then I finally just said, you know what, we're not taking another order until we get caught up. And it took us an hour and a half to get every order out the window that we had taken an order for. It was so crazy. And that feeling of that overwhelm, like I don't even know how we're gonna get caught up. I need a minute to breathe. I see it. Like we had an event in here just last week, and I could see it in Stephanie's face. She was just like, she didn't know what to do. And I see it on the line, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And it just feels very, very overwhelming. And those are the times when I can come in and I can read as a leader, what can I do to be helpful? And if I come in and I go, Starla, what can I do to be helpful? And she goes, I don't know, Kimberly, you sit around all the time. And I can go, what the F? Or I can say, okay, I can tell that you're upset, but let's try to get solutions. What can I do to be helpful? What do you need right now? And then we can talk about it later. I don't have to take offense to it. I'm gonna regulate my temperature. I'm gonna let you have your temperature, and we're gonna handle it. We're gonna take care of what needs to be taken care of, and then we'll talk about it later. Does that make sense? Okay. And then we're gonna regulate. Okay? So we're going to talk about it later. Starla, I know it was really stressful, but that was kind of harsh. And I don't think it was fair for you to say that, because I'm really not sitting around. I do a lot. I know it looks like I sit around, but I actually am doing a lot to keep us moving. Have that conversation with you. And then you can tell me what's going on in your life, right? You know what? My dog died. And I'm just having a really, really rough weekend because he was my best friend. I had him for 15 years. So I have 3 options in this moment, okay? And that one was like kind of a harsh one to use it as an example. But I could also say, you know what? I quit smoking yesterday. There's another one, right? Okay? So I have 3 options when it comes to how I can respond to people. And this I learned just recently, thanks to Christian, because he sent me this podcast, and I thought, this is really good. You guys should know about this. There are 3 ways that I can respond to the staff or to each other or whatever. I can be sympathetic, I can be empathetic, and I can be compassionate. What does it mean to be sympathetic?
Like show sympathy, like understand their feelings, know where they're coming from, and comfort them, kind of.
Okay. Comforting them, showing them your, this is what I wrote, see their pain. When Bill and I met, my favorite phrase to him would be, sorry you feel that way.
I always hated that so much.
He did too. I didn't see anything wrong with it until he pointed it out.
So bad. It's so bad, yeah.
Sorry you feel that way.
I say, I believe that you believe that.
That's another terrible one.
Oh my God, I'm so mad.
Okay. Sympathy really is, I see your pain. I see that you're hurting. I see that you're hurting. But does it mean that I have to change my thermostat? No. Just because I have sympathy doesn't mean I have to change my thermostat, right? And then empathy is what?
Feeling others' emotions.
Yeah. I feel your pain, right? And then compassion means what?
Reciprocate the feeling. Give them a hug.
So sympathy says, sorry you feel that way. That really hurts. I'm really sorry that hurts. Empathy says, I'm going to feel your pain too, but that's not helping anyone because that's changing my thermostat.
Isn't empathy, I could see how you feel. Sympathy is, I'm really sorry you are going through that, and then compassion is to do something.
I think it could go either way. Empathy is like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it with you.
Empath, like, oh, I really feel on your pain. Like, I know you're going through a hard time right now, but, we're going to get through this.
Whereas compassion is saying, so let's say I have an employee, they're not going to work out. We've tried, we went through, we've done all that we can with them. We have done training, we have tried to coach them, we've done everything we can, they're not going to work out. So if I'm going to be sympathetic, they're going to come in and they're going to be like, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. So that's me being sympathetic. It's just not going to work out. Empathetic means I feel really bad. I don't want to let him go. I feel really bad. So if I'm being empathetic, if I come with a really empathetic emotion, likelihood is that I'm going to say, if they go, I can't lose this job, then I'm going to be like, oh, I feel their pain. Okay, we'll try one more time. But if I'm really, really compassionate for somebody, if I really have compassion and I really care about them, this is the one that I want us to focus on, is we're going to do what's best and most healthiest for all parties involved, not just that individual. So that's where I have had to make some very, very adult big girl decisions and say, it's just not going to work out anymore. I believe that there's a better place for you, and it's not here. And that's always been really hard for me. And when I heard that in that podcast, and you separate what sympathy is, what empathy is, and what compassion is, really we want to be compassionate for each other. That's how we want to treat each other all the time. I want to be compassionate, meaning that I understand that your life is a struggle, or I understand where you're at right now, and I want to do what's best for all of us, not just you. Does that make sense? That was kind of a big...
As a team, kind of.
Yeah. And for me, it's always about the temperature of the culture. It's always about how can we make this place a better place. So we had a cook recently that was working for us that I didn't know, but I kind of had a hunch that he was a little aggressive. And then I found out he had threatened one of the fellow employees. And so I have sympathy for that guy because I see like he's got some internal struggles. And I have empathy for him because I know it's going to suck to lose your job. But the compassion that I have for him is this guy needs to feel this because he can't treat people that way. And how do people change? They have to decide for themselves. And usually change comes from pain. And so that's why and for me, I keep looking at the health of here. This is the most important thing. And if there's somebody that is toxic, I'm trying to coach them because if you're coachable, teachable, moldable, if you are somebody that wants to grow, I want you here. I want to help you. I want to build you up. My life motto is life has been good for me. I want to make it good for everybody else. I really, 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 truly want that. But if you can't come with us, then the most compassionate thing that I can do for you is to let you go. Does that make sense? And so that's what I wanted to talk about. And a lot of what the training that I have for us is about learning how to communicate with each other, how to live in this environment together. You're going to spend more time sometimes with your coworkers than anybody else in your whole life. Because you're here 40 hours plus a week, right? And Sam, I didn't forget about your arm. I'm sorry, I was in the middle of a thought and then I forgot. Okay, sorry. But I mean, that's to me, the culture is super important. If we treat each other well, and that's why I said hospitality starts here. I even had it today. I was having a conversation with Ashley, and I said something, and then I said, "Did you hear what that was? That came from my heart, and that's because I'm feeling some pain." And so that is what is in your heart comes out of your mouth. And I really believe that if we remember and we keep in mind that hospitality starts in my heart, meaning that what's in my heart is what's going to come out of my mouth, so I need to make sure that I'm regulating myself. I'm not being a thermometer that responds to everything around me, and my temperature is based on how everyone else acts. I'm a thermostat that says I'm going to decide that the room is going to be this temperature, and no matter what anybody else does, if the door is open or not, I'm still going to regulate, and I'm going to be this person because I'm a leader, and I have an impact on the people that are around me. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, that's all it was. Got anything to add, Bill? Oh, he's texting me. What did you do?
I was just looking it up, and
Okay.
pity is I acknowledge your pain. Sympathy is I care about your pain. Empathy is I feel your pain. Compassion is I want to relieve your pain.
Okay.
Compassion is I want to relieve your pain.
Well, I think that, of course,
I was looking up.
that's okay. You're off camera, so I'm gonna have to cut you out of this.
That's fine.
I'm just teasing. This is what I looked up, and I really liked the way that they broke it down because I feel bad, I have sympathy, but I really need to just have compassion, and compassion is doing the adult thing. Like with your children, when you have kids, you're trying to do the most adult, mature thing that you can. And sometimes they don't like it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. That was it.
No, I was just gonna say.
Any questions? Yeah.
Compassion, I feel like that, it's also for the health of the culture, making those decisions and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes you have to make decisions for the culture's sake, and it's not always easy. Yeah. Yep. Agreed. All right. Thank you, guys.